Greetings, Sir and Sirettes, and welcome back to Stellaris with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to another mod showcase, where today we are looking at a mod which very well may be the mod I am the most excited about out of any mod I've looked at so far, because for those who've been around on the channel for a while, you will know I adore Hive Minds. Hive Minds are by far... well, they're the contender for my ultimate favourite empire, but the one thing holding them back, and that's why they're only a contender, is there's not all that many ways of playing them. With the regular empires, there are so many different ethics and civics, even in the vanilla game, you can have your own unique experiences. With the Hive Mind, you either have the standard Hive Mind, or you have the Devouring Swarm, and that's pretty much it. At least that's what I found. I'm sure there are plenty of ways to specifically tailor your empire, but every time I've tried, it's always ended up a variant of the two, and a bit too close to be anything too unique. Well, this is the mod I've been looking for. This is the Forgotten Queens mod, and it is adding loads of stuff all to do with Hive Minds. Now, for this run, for this test, I'm only going to be using that mod and no other mods, because these are all kind of things I would love to see in the vanilla game, so I'd like to see how this acts in just a vanilla game with the extra Hive Mind stuff. So what exactly does this mod add to the game? Well, as you can probably tell by the intro, it's all about extra stuff for the Hive Minds. First of all, we have brand new appearances ranging from honestly terrifying to kind of adorable and confusing looking, and then this thing. I love this one, but honestly, I just love the standard insect. Just going with the insectoid Hive Mind always makes me very, very happy, so we're going with this one. I think these tendrils are actually from one of the machine portraits, am I correct there? Yeah, that's what it is, I've only just realised that. Either way, love this, sticking with it. But let's go into the features a little bit more methodically, rather than me just pointing at things and going, I like this, because we'd be here all day otherwise. So first of all, we have the new civics. So we have organic structures. Now this means you also get the organic ship type, which is just, I believe, it's the Scourge ships, so I'm always happy to see those back in the game, rather than whichever you choose normally, so happy with that. But then it massively changes how your empire works. You get queens, you get brood queens, and as someone who has an ant colony, who used to have multiple ant colonies before giving some of them away, I love all this kind of concept, absolutely adore it. You get a brood queen, which will produce larvae. Larvae are needed for almost everything. Do you want a new starbase? Get some larvae. Do you want to get some new buildings? You probably need some larvae as well. So, lots of larvae, always very, very useful. Also, is it larvae or larvae? I always get those mixed up. You know, mean words, not exactly the best of friends there. The point is, though, you need lots of them. Next up, we have mutualistic behaviour. Now, this gets really weird, because with this, you can have branch offices on other empires' worlds, similar to, honestly, a criminal syndicate, because you don't need a commercial pact with them, you can just pop them wherever, and when you combine it with organic structures, you can actually have farms there which produce more larvae, which obviously is very, very good for this empire. You can also assimilate biological pops from the very start. This is being nice. Mutualistic behaviour is all about being the bestest friends with all other empires. In fact, you can't even have unrestricted wars with this. Obviously, we're going with this because I want to have branch offices on every world, so every world is producing our offspring. And you can get really creepy with this, by the way, with things like, oh, I don't know, parasitic embryos. This hive uses other organics to lay embryos in their bodies to increase pop numbers. Yep, allows your empire to process organics, infecting them and giving birth to new pops of your main species when purged. Has the demand sacrifice war type. Yeah, you can just make them sacrifice their pops so that you can plant eggs in them and get more of your species. I would definitely probably go with one of these two if I was going with that option, unless I was trying to be adorable. But we're being nice today. We're being the good guys. So going through some of the other civics a little bit quicker now, because there's quite a few of them actually. We have autonomous drones, which allows your unemployed populations to voluntarily resettle themselves to other planets. That's similar to the edict you can get from the Galactic Council. All very well and good there. You get extra population growth from immigration, extra diplomatic weight from populations. Probably something I wouldn't really pick, but still makes the Empire a lot easier to run, especially if we're going with a very wide Empire. Bio-integrated tech gives you extra hull and armor regen, once again, way more regen. Your ships will never die. You have Focused Collective, which allows you, very weirdly, to specifically choose between society, physics, and engineering research, and focus on that for your Empire. Essentially gives you an extra policy to choose from. Want some more anomalies? Here's a civic for that. Would you like some more food, and especially from livestock? Well, natural attraction, for when you really want to eat other sapiens. And we've already spoke about the parasitic embryos, so next up we do have 2 new origins, the first of which is this one, which allows you to start off on a hive world. From this hive world you can send more expensive colony ships, in fact that's the only colony ship you can create, which will slowly convert other worlds into hive worlds. The downside is that you have 0% habitability on all of these worlds, and it does take a very long time for that planet to be converted into a new hive world. So until then, your species isn't really getting anything from the planet. We're just kind of sitting there waiting for it to slowly turn into a giant living organism, which is part of the hive mind itself. But of course, hive worlds are very, very powerful, so getting every single world into a hive world, essentially for free, except for the slightly increased cost of your colony ship, is very good in the long run. Terrible early game, amazing late game. Then there's this one, Overmind. This is a very, very interesting one, to say the least. Your main species can no longer exist. You essentially don't have the main species on any of your planets. They can't be grown or anything else, but they will still be available to be leaders. These leaders can have a special trait which makes them more powerful. Think of something like Cyborg with the extra bonuses, that's what you can get. On top of this, you start off with a secondary species, which is actually your main species to grow, which is your remote drone. So one good thing about this straight away is that you don't really have to care at all about the remote drone's leadership capabilities, because that's all being taken care of by your main species, which then you can focus completely for learning. Things like quick learners, talented, and venerable, I believe that's the only options you can even have. So a very powerful main species, and then you have your remote drones. On top of this, you instantly start with the capability of assimilating all biological pops which are on your planet. So you get lots of them if you invade other worlds. All of the species will be part of the hive mind, but they will never have their voices heard within the collective. On top of this, your remote drones also have plus 10 habitability. This does cost 1 point, but is essentially adaptive for cheaper, and you can still have adaptive if you want really, really adaptive species. And if you find any other worlds, well, if there's any people there, they'll be part of the collective as well. But for now, we're going to stick with this. I do want to try and turn every world into a hive world, and we can see all the effects as the world slowly gets converted. I just noticed my audio's been a little bit weird so far. Hopefully it wasn't too distracting. I have fixed it. I was messing up there. I simply had the wrong microphone plugged in. Yeah, so I was recording from 2 locations rather than just 1, and it messed up everything. Again, hopefully not too distracting. The final thing we have, though, before we go into the game itself, because we also have Ascension perks to look at once we're in the game, is we do have a brand new advisor voice. And you may recognise this from StarCraft.
Interaction concluded. New specimen must experiment. Social interaction irrelevant.
Also, the cooperator's name is the automatic name because we are now mutualistic cooperators. This hive continues its relations with other species, seeking mutually beneficial arrangements. And so, we begin the game, so we can showcase the Ascension perks and just how this empire plays in general. Hopefully we'll find nice friendly empires that we can start our little brood cults in. I mean, our friendly branch offices. They grow our species because they love us. And so we begin, and here is the Complex updates, Complex being the fellow who made this mod, and they're the other ones which are available. But for now, we're just sticking with the Forgotten Queens. Our starter world here, as you can see, minus 50% energy for our buildings upkeep, but they do cost food. Consumed, I believe it will say... Yeah, planet structures, there we go. So straight away, the food upkeep is instantly a problem there. And as you can see, we are producing a special resource, which are our larvae. And there's our brood queen, happily creating them, and also increasing our population growth by 2%. Every 50 population you have, you will get an additional brood queen. So these will eventually stack up, and then you can have loads of extra population growth and loads of extra larvae. When you get a new world, you will start off with a brood queen. At least I think you start off with a brood queen. Fairly certain. Might be wrong there, but that's what I understand it to be. As you can see as well, all of the buildings do cost that special resource. So, that will hamper you to begin with, at least that's what I found in my very quick test. I only tested it for a few minutes and instantly realised I love this mod, so that's why we're doing a video today. Wasn't going to do a video today, but I couldn't help myself. Now we need to spread, find a new world. In fact, we found 2 straight away, which is great, so that we can showcase how the world will be converted and infested by our empire. Here's a new policy. Brood focus. We can either have balanced brood, which gives us a little bit of extra population growth from our brood queens, and our brood queens produce more larvae, or we can have extra larvae, or we can have extra population growth. All focused on different things. The nuptial flights, that's something I know far too much about, because that's what happened to me this year. For the very first time, my ant nest managed to make elates, and we had them everywhere, because I didn't really prepare for it, and I didn't expect them to, because normally they don't do that when they're indoors, because they don't get all the different signals from the outside, but yeah, flying ants everywhere. Or we can focus on our sterile workers, giving us extra population growth. So here are the new Ascension perks. Sadly, with some of these, because I haven't actually experienced them yet myself, I don't fully understand exactly what they do, but they certainly do sound very interesting. So to begin with, the one I do understand, Hollowing Project. With this, we can essentially hollow out one of our worlds, turning it into a giant ant nest, giving extra housing and resource production and pop growth, and also giving us special hollow districts, at the expense of the planet's natural resources becoming inaccessible. So I assume that's things like the rare resources and such, the rare features probably vanish. And we also can't produce generator, mining, or agricultural districts. So I'm seeing this as kind of the arcology project, but for hive minds. That's how I'm reading that. So I say I understand it, but I understand it in theory. It's a powerful world type, which certainly does seem interesting. The next 2 are Ascension paths, similar to the genetic path and such for other empires. We start off with this. Why not grow our species in artificial environments, giving us genetic chimerism? Again, I don't fully understand what that does, but it is an option there, and that also unlocks xenotransplantation. Biotrophy citizenship enabled. It also allows us to assemble any species from our empire with the Genesis chambers. Mutagenic evolution modifier added, which grants bonus per unique species, so obviously you want as many species as possible within your empire, and then you have the research option gained, genetic alterations. Again, not fully understanding exactly what they do. I will try and go for at least the start of one of these in this quick test run, but I am also very tempted to do a full playthrough with this empire because I think it's going to be insanely fun. I'll definitely go with one of these 2 options. Next up, we have something which I've really wanted in the vanilla game for a long time. I've never fully understood why we can't have this, essentially giving us the psionic capabilities for a hive mind. Only a fraction of the potential contained within our collective mind has been unlocked. The psychic link that connects the members of our species can be used as a bridge to connect with others. It also allows us to have mind meld as a research option. After that, we have omnipresence. We stand on the threshold of awakening the true psionic might of our species. Soon we will be able to tap into the very mind of the galaxy. The Hive will unlock their full psionic potential. I really don't know which one of these I want more. I really love the idea of this one, just because I've wanted this in the vanilla game, but this sounds really interesting. And those are the 5 new Ascension perks. So tempted to do a full playthrough. If you would be interested in that, feel free to tell me in the comments. I would love an excuse to just play this empire. I think I underplayed how expensive these ships are. Yeah, 2,000 food to get a colony ship, and that brings me to this. because we've chosen the organic structures, this is what our lovely empire looks like. Because wouldn't you trust this to be your ally? Remember, we're the friendly empire. It's all based, of course, on the Scourge. In fact, I think it is the Scourge models. I believe these are the strike craft, right? Well, now they are our corvettes. Terrifying, terrifying corvettes. There's one of our science ships. Sorry, one of our stations. There's our little worky boy. And there is our science vessel. It is nice playing as the Scourge again. The friendly Scourge. We're friendly. We like people. Really like them. The amount of larvae we need for things like our corvettes is a little bit insane. 5 each. Currently we're only producing 1 larvae per month, so 1.6 per month. That really hampers us, but as we get more colonies, as we get more population, that should become less of a problem.
Objective achieved.
I guess that's the problem when you're transforming your children into ships of war. But what parent hasn't had that problem? There's our colony ship. So does that mean our population's just like in this thing's stomach?
Perplexing. Must examine.
I'm assuming they're in the stomach. I'm hoping they're in the stomach. The first of our worlds is now colonized. As you can see, 0% habitability, meaning we are getting very little from here. But then we have this growing organism at stage 1. The planet is being wreathed by a giant living organism to become one with the Hive. And that's going to take 3,376 days. I think it indeed begins with essentially 10 years. Ooh, is that because we're plaguing it? So in 10 years' time, stage 1 will be complete. It's gonna be a while.
Work complete.
Another thing I've been underestimating is just how much everything costs food. It costs food to build a starbase, it costs food to build any type of mining or research station, it costs food for your ships. Everything is food-based, because of course everything is made from your larvae. The larvae transform, and so we need more of them to make more of everything. We have found our first other empire, and so let's put down a branch office. So as you can see, we have all the unique buildings here. The first of which I'm going to look at is the lava chamber, the larvae chamber, which will increase our larvae production by 1 each month. It will cost us 5 food, and will give them a medical worker for extra population growth. It will, however, make them more xenophobic. Xenophobic ethic extraction plus 200%. I guess it is a bit weird to have these being grown on your planet, especially since we didn't get any, approval to place down these buildings. We then have all sorts of other things, though. We have the tourism centre, increasing our diplomatic weight from economy by just 5%. It's a much weaker version, I think, than the regular corporate version. We have one which produces unity, minerals, food, all the usual stuff, but then we also get specific sciences, engineering, society, and physics. But the main one for now, we just need more larvae. Actually, we kind of don't, because we're not building many ships. I'm just about staying... Actually, now I'm going to do more stuff. Yeah, right now I am just about staying even with my larvae production. I do have additional brood queens now, all helping out with that. Oh, the brood queens do not produce larvae. Oh, because I've just recently changed the brood focus. So actually, yeah, we do need the larvae, because I've decided my brood queens are only producing extra population growth. They are producing sterile larvae, which are not able to be used for all these other things. So yeah, we definitely need the larvae chamber as soon as we have the minerals to do so. Stage 1 is now complete on this world, which means now it is at least somewhat habitable. However, stage 2 is going to take another 7,000 days. So right now we have less max districts, and it is consuming a copious amount of our food. It really is really slow. Like, if you want an early rush, this is not the Empire for you. Going with the organic structures is kind of horrendous with this. No, sorry, not organic structures. With this specific origin is not good for an early rush. It's all about the late game. We have just reached 50 population on our homeworld, so we have the initial brood queen and now we have a second. And because of our policy, they are both increasing our population growth by 5% each. Not really all that powerful, but at least all they're taking is food.
Perplexing must examine.
Eventually we're going to have so many of those. I've just got the tech cloning, which means now we can go ahead with our first of the new Ascension perks. I was going to go with the Psychic option, but this one's a bit earlier, so we're going with this. Unlocks the building Genesis Chambers, and the research option for genetic chimerism. So then, what do the Genesis Chambers do exactly? Genesis Chambers. Genetic assembler jobs +1 every 30 populations. Oh, we literally construct our own species. That is really cool, actually. Yeah, that is really, really cool. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's start putting down the Genesis Chambers. We have to put them here as well. We can, but they're very expensive. But let's just focus on tech for a while.
Achieved.
I wonder if we can go with both this and the other. No, sadly not. You can only have one or the other. Okay, that makes complete sense. So, next up, we need at least 2 other Ascension perks to be selected, and we need the gene tailoring tech. Then we can go with this one. Actually, I've just realised I may have been wrong. I don't actually know if you need what we've just got to get that. I thought it was one then the other. Perhaps that's not quite the case. It must be, because otherwise you can't produce the Genesis Chambers, and that's what this gives. So it's either you need the other one, or the other one makes this one significantly better. I can't quite tell which. But either way, doesn't really matter too much. We'll go for this one second anyway, since we need to grab some of the other things first. Oh, okay, so it's basically xenomorphs. So that's what the tech we've just unlocked is. You can produce xenomorphs, although it does lead to other things. Okay. Here we are with the Genesis Chamber completely online. As you can see, we are assembling our own species, as if they're machines. That's a lot of population growth. Very quickly. Also, something very interesting I've noticed is we are also converting this world, which I kinda wish we wasn't. This is a relic world, by the way, but doesn't look like it anymore, and we are going to turn it into a hive eventually. Our first colony is about to finally upgrade itself. And there we go! Oh, that is gross. Love it! We have our first hive world, as in the first one we've actually created. 100% habitability, plus 10% resources from jobs, and we are no longer restricted from the planetary features to how many districts we have. That is, how many generator, mining, or agricultural districts are now completely tied to the size, and nothing else.
Augmentation.
Glory to the swarm. Also, I forgot to name the hive mind, and it is Lathera. It's close. It's almost Lathrix. Just sounds cuter, honestly. Shame the face doesn't quite match. Though, to be fair about my level of cuteness, honestly. So I've now hit the point where I can't really do anything else because I'm just not producing enough larvae. I don't have enough of our lovely children to mutate into new worlds and new ships. I'm completely stuck. So I am completely relying currently on the larvae chambers in other empires. The problem is, Machine Empire, can't use them. Trade Empire, can't use them. Trade Empire, can't use them. So I only have 2 currently, and you are just too far away and too expensive. Might need to make sure our brood queens are producing brood again. You know, usable brood. The lack of larvae is a problem. Regular nuptial flights help brood queens lay more alate larvae, which will help the colony expand and grow. So now, the brood queens are back producing usable larvae. Interestingly, we can have migration treaties. That's certainly a first for a hive mind. Sure. Come to our worlds. You totally won't instantly be assimilated. That's good though, because our next Ascension perk gets a bonus for how many we have in our empire. There's how many species. Where are you? There we are. Mutagenic evolution modifier added, which grants bonus per unique species. We can now add another civic, so we're going to add Focus Collective to see this new policy.
Objective.
There we go, now we can choose. So, right now, all of our research is already giving us a little bit of extra research. That's actually really nice, this is a passive. Or I can focus on a single one of them. So, the focus is definitely worth it overall in terms of sheer research. This is essentially giving plus 1.5 research per researcher, whereas this is giving plus 2, since this is just giving plus 0.5 in all. Well, right now, what we really need is society, since that ties with a lot of the stuff I'm trying to do, so sure. Selfless curiosity. So all of my researchers are now producing plus 2 society research. If I can find them, there they are. Lovely. Xenotransplantation. Biotrophy citizenship now enabled. Genesis chambers can now assemble any species, and we now have the new modifier. Whoa. Plus 4 gene modification points, and plus 8% research. So it's every species then is adding 2% resources from jobs, which is honestly the thing I was most amazed by there, and 1 extra modification point for every species. Okay, so far, not as good as the regular genetic, but we do have an extra research option. So what exactly is that? Genetic resequencing. No longer will be limited by the basic biological structure of a species when striving to improve them. DNA is just another material to be shaped as the sculptor wills it. But what does it do? Allows us to remove beneficial traits, add detrimental traits, and alter pop appearance. Okay, yeah, so essentially that's just... You can do that with Evolutionary Mastery, correct? But this only gives... Okay, so this gives 3 modification points, but it also gives you the special traits, which are really, really powerful. Obviously, we're not getting the special traits, but instead, we're getting this passive, and I don't know which is better, because if you can stack a lot of species... That would be truly amazing. Now, I should actually be getting another species soon as well, on top of what we've already got. You haven't got one of you yet, so I'll force that at least once. And that'll give me 1 more. Oh, but of course, now we can also have biotrophies, which the other one doesn't allow. Okay, so that's already been assimilated. So what we need to do is, once we get another one of these, let's see what the biotrophy is like. Is it just the same as with a machine empire, or is it not? So we will... Ooh, why can't we get one of you? I can here, can't there? Oh, because of habitability, okay. But there we go. Let's force one of those here. Give them biotrophy, and then we'll see what that's like. So that's something else the Ascension perk gives.
Social interaction irrelevant.
Now the last one I really want to check out is Hollowing Planets, but that might take a bit too long. I am running out of time already. Stellaris games take a long time to do, but it is a lot of fun. Okay. So... this is what you get. Biomass contributors. This is the biotrophy. So not quite the same as the usual one. It's generating society research. It's incredibly unhappy. It's using very little. Well, actually, about the same? Never mind. I say very little. No, yeah, a little bit less in terms of housing and amenities as a regular population. But then it has this. Monthly pop assembly plus 0. Oh, it actually isn't. Look, it's 3.05. So each biotrophy, biomass contributor is actually increasing the pop assembly speed by 0.05. That's very little. But at the same time, it is still producing society research as well, quite cheaply. Would I really stack these? Probably not. Though you could probably get a planet with these here if you do stack them to really, really ramp out some extra population, but yeah, doubt I would go with all the effort, honestly.
Objective ready.
Our mutagenic evolution is now on plus 12% resources from all jobs and plus 6 to add genetic modification points. So it's about time then we edit the main species. Let's turn into something far creepier. Which is creepier? You know, it's the mouth. It's the mouth on that thing. It's so there. So intelligent now. I'm actually going to focus on engineering since I do want to swap over. And is there anything else we really want? We've only got one trait point left. So one pick left. Adaptive is useless. Energy, don't really care. Well, actually we should care a little bit. You know what? Extra unity, sure. So extra food, more research, more growth speed. Okay, let's go with that. Look at the mouth! With domination now finished, we can grab the final of the new Ascension perks I'll be looking at, Hollowing Planet. So how expensive and how long is this going to take? I'm assuming it'll, take 10 years. All district slots, okay, yeah, so it is just like the Archaeology project. All of the districts need to be Hive districts. So this is our smallest planet, which is currently... yeah, these two. So... gonna go with the smaller one, because it'll take less time to build all the Hive districts on. Now, normally, I would have never done that, but I have just used a console command because I am completely out of time right now, and I really, really, really want to see what the Hollow World is like. Oh, wow, yeah, you can see all the cracks on the surface. Oh, wow, yeah, that's cool looking. When it's also combined with all the lights. That is really, really cool. Okay, so, caves and caverns sprawl inside the globe's crust, reaching the mantle, and it is done. Scant few years have passed since the start of this grand project, in fact less than a year, thanks to console commands, but it is already difficult to recall what the surface of the planet was like. Okay then, let's have a look-see at the districts. So we have the Hellforge, okay, so straight away I'm sold, it's called the Hellforge. All alloys should be made in a Hellforge. Wait, 8 jobs for only 24 alloys? I'm hoping that's a typo. So let's have a look what else we have then. So we have the Soldier's Den, which gives plus 15 warrior drone jobs and plus 10 hunter seekers. Army build speed is also sped up when this is present, so that's actually really good. Loads of extra navy capacity there. So straight away, this could be a really, really good fortress world. We then have the proliferation layers, which give extra population growth because it's, 2 spawning drone jobs per district and 10 synapse drone jobs. So that's loads of amenities, loads of population growth, lots of unity, and also lots of admin cap. Since that's how you get your admin cap, from the synapse drones. Okay, well I'm building a Hellforge because I want to see if that is a typo. That doesn't seem right to me. For 8 drone jobs to produce only 24 alloys. But we shall see. Oh, one other thing I forgot to check. 100% habitability, minus 50% bombardment damage. Yeah, this would be the ultimate fortress world, and it makes complete sense. Everything's underground. And then population growth, plus 25%, and plus 10% resources from jobs. Though we are losing a Hive world to do that, which has already got the plus 10%, that's still really good, that plus 25% growth speed, and then you can make it way faster by adding some of these layers. You know what I've realised? I'm dumb. I know, huge shock. But no, that base production is actually correct. I was thinking of one of the modded productions, and then comparing that to the modded version, which is completely incorrect. Yeah, a normal alloy foundry gives 6 alloys for 2 jobs, which of course makes then complete sense. The 8 jobs would be 24. Right? Yes. Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, that was just me being very, very silly. And of course, the base production is never exactly what you get. For instance, that's base production of 24. I'm actually getting 70? Wow, they're giving 8 each. Why? This Empire just... Oh, yeah, I've also increased how much stuff I'm getting from complex drones by 20% there. Okay, yeah, that makes complete sense. I'm a dum-dum. I know. Huge shock. Well, I'm afraid I really am all out of time for today's video. I was going to stop recording about 4 hours ago, and I just continued playing the game. So I think that really speaks volumes for how much I've enjoyed playing this mod. It is actually better than I expected it to be. I think it works really well with the vanilla experience, and honestly, this is kind of what I would really love hive minds to be more like in the vanilla game. I wish there were more options, having other populations move to your planets and such, not necessarily instantly assimilating them, as I'm not sure many populations would willingly move over, but there are lots of options to play this particular hive mind. This is just one way of playing it with the organic structures and everything else, but there are plenty of others, especially with the other origins as well. Parasitic embryos does seem absolutely horrifying, for instance. You take over a world and you turn all of its people into your people through parasitic embryos. Yep, that is horrifying in every single way. But I have completely enjoyed this. Out of all of the different hive mind mods I've briefly looked at, this one right now is by far my favourite. Completely recommend. And I'm definitely going to be playing around with it just in my spare time, and if you would like to see a full playthrough of one of the hive minds, then please tell me in the comments below. I might end up doing it just because I've really, really enjoyed my time here, and tell me what combination of traits and such should I go for. Should I become utterly brutal and honestly vile? Should I continue to be friendly with everyone and just put a bit more focus on that? Should I continue with the organic structures? There's a lot of options we can do. Or shall I be the overmind, with loads of minion species and a unique leader class? Lots of things to do, lots of options. As always, the link for the mod is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Stellaris is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Oh, and before we go, why does the phone always go off when I'm trying to record? So before I go, here are the different options for your ships. We have the Corvette, the Destroyer, the Cruiser, and the Battleship. And I'm sure the Titan will most likely be the Broodmother design. It's always nice seeing the Scourge out and about again. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Do take care. And until next time, goodbye.